Ukrainian army carried out an attack on a Russian command control post near Kherson. This post was suspiciously close to the front lines. Why do the Russians bring their command post so close to the front lines? Because nothing gets done in the Russian army if the generals are not present. Yes, the generals. Two generals were killed in this single attack and a third one was heavily wounded. This was the command post of the entire 49th Army of Russia. In these command posts, briefings are held. About 50 officers were present at the Russian Army command post briefing and they all got killed. This is the biggest Russian officer loss in the war so far. Today I'll bring you fresh videos from the front and I'll explain what I see in those videos. Let's begin with a very interesting one. Ukraine has been producing their own military drones, R-18 drones. They are not drones like planes with wings, these are actually drones with 8 rotors. They can carry many kilograms of weight. What do you do with a drone that can carry many kilograms of weight in the war? You attach 3 explosives onto it and you hover over the Russian armored vehicle. You drop the explosions one by one and it doesn't matter that the first one bounces off. You have the second one and boom, the third one is what exploded. I've covered it before, but yes, the Ukrainians are using these civilian-looking drones that are deadly. Dropping grenades from above, I think is genius. It is actually very difficult to shoot down such a drone. In this video you can see a firefight happening between Ukrainian forces and the Russian forces. I'll first bring out the bad thing I see here. I see that the Ukrainian forces are bunched together, so they're quite easy to hit with an RPG or machine gun fire. But I can understand this if you don't have cover anywhere else, and perhaps these few cars that we saw are the only cover, they will bunch together behind these cars. The good thing I see in this video is you can see that they aim their weapons and shoot single or 2 or 3 burst shots. They don't use full automatic fire and shoot blindly behind the corner like we see Kadyrov's men do. This tells us that these Ukrainian fighters do not panic, they know what to do in this firefight situation. They aim and they shoot as they should. Now there's an explosion of an RPG or a grenade about 10 meters away and the guy who has the camera gets hit by a shrapnel. You might be next to the grenade when it explodes and you might not get hit with anything, and you might be 10-20 meters away from the grenade or RPG anti-personnel explosive, and when it explodes you still get hit with the shrapnel. As the case of this video, dude got hit 10 meters away. Others next to him didn't. Comes down to luck, I guess. I have many more videos from the front lines for you, but before we watch them, let's thank the Patreons. I couldn't do this channel without the Patreons, especially if I'm covering such a bloody and dangerous topic like Ukrainian war. Thank you to these 10 people. I'll be butchering your name, pronouncing them as an Estonian. Lisson Tetlev, Mark Indrek Kass. This is an Estonian name, I'm pretty sure he's an Estonian. Rob Freeman, Scott Inman. Hey, these names end with man. Hakon Saebu. We don't have both of these letters in Estonia, the A with the circle on top and A and E bunched together. We don't have these letters, but I'm guessing that's how you pronounce your name. Pete Dendrinos. William Strömbäck. We actually have Ö and A. Ö is O with the dots on top and A is A with the dots on top. Rohan Heivart. Doug Olson. Thank you to these 10 people. If you like my channel, then you can support the channel on Patreon. Link is in the description below. If you become tier 10 or above, I'll be reading your name as an Estonian. Next video, my friends, from the front lines. In this drone footage, you can see it hovering above a Russian motorized platoon who has set their positions in a horrible location. There's no cover, there's no forest, and the trucks are not camouflaged. In the army we were taught, whenever you make a stop or you stay in one spot for more than a few hours, you put up the camouflage nets all over the trucks. So if you're hovering above it with a drone, you don't see the contours of a car or a truck, you just see like a camouflaged bump and from afar away you couldn't even make it out it's a truck. Russians don't do that. We can see they're very comfy. They have this water boiling machine. We never had it in the army, and the Russians have it. One of the dudes is taking number 2. It's a sitting duck, the whole position of this platoon, and it is hit, as we can see, with artillery. Ukrainians are incredibly precise with their artillery. The whole world is wondering how the hell are they doing it. Now, as much as I see from the footage, these scattered shots are not enough to destroy this platoon, but Ukrainians already know how the Russians behave. A few shots, Russians run, and Ukrainians get new trucks for themselves. So you don't actually need to destroy these vehicles. We have another drone video and another video where the Ukrainians can flex with their artillery precision strikes. This artillery mission is done by the 54th Brigade of the Ukrainian Army. This brigade was formed in 2014 and it has 8 years of active battle experience from the Eastern Ukrainian War. Shell hits the house, Russians run out of it. South from the house we can see 2 KIAs. North from the house we can see a Russian soldier crawling away, probably injured, and we see another Russian soldier running past him, leaving his comrade to die. This video comes from a BTR-4 crew of Ukraine. BTR-4 is a Ukrainian-made BTR with a 30mm automated cannon on it, so it's the most modern BTR there is in the world. As much as I can make out of it, the BTR sees a half squad or maybe a squad-sized Russian unit, opens fire on it, and it's infantry. So a 30mm automatic cannon shreds infantry. It literally makes minced meat out of them. I wouldn't want to be one of those Russian dudes being blown to bits by this. I like the next one because I've never seen a video so clearly showing us how a plane falls down. In this video you can see a Russian Su-34 falling to its doom, spinning violently. These videos are always blurry or shady, or you can just see an explosion far away, but in this one you can actually see it just falling down, spinning. The pilot ejected, we know of that, and we know that it happened near Kharkiv. Russians have lost over 100 planes during this war. In the past 7 days there have been 4 big fires in Russian military-related facilities, chemistry plants, fuel depots, ammunition warehouses. Today it was a fuel depot in Bryansk. Bryansk is 100 kilometers from the Ukrainian border. It's a Russian logistics hub for the Ukrainian war. But it's not only that. The only pipeline to feed Russian oil to Europe, and also the longest pipeline in the world, Druzhba pipeline, Druzhba means friendship in Russia, runs to Bryansk. This pipeline currently is not working because it is on fire. Coincidence? I think not. Ukrainians have not claimed any of these attacks or these fires. In this video you can see the exact moment of the explosion. Although no one has claimed credit for this attack, I believe it was an attack. I think it is directly connected to the war in Ukraine and connected to the EU being addicted to Russian oil, because right now they cannot pump any of it into EU because the Druzhba pipeline is on fire. It is a direct attack against Russian war machine financing. All of the money into Russian military comes from selling oil and weapons. Nobody buys the weapons anymore, but a lot of countries are still buying the oil. That's not it in Bryansk. Also, a train derailed near Bryansk. Somebody, we don't know who because nobody claims it, has damaged the tracks, and a Russian locomotive just flew off the tracks. This rail line is heavy on Russian logistics supporting the war. It is up to you to decide. What do you think, who did it? Emmanuel Macron has won the French presidential elections with 58.5% of the votes. His opponent was Marine Le Pen, far-right politician in my eyes, and her party was allegedly funded by Russia. Macron was before very active on supporting Ukraine. First step of support for Ukraine that President Macron took was sending the best French heavy artillery to Ukrainians. 155mm self-propelled artillery Caesar. Heavy artillery is a game changer. Ukrainians are very good in contact battles and they win usually most of them, but Russians have the biggest artillery in the Eurasian continent. So Ukrainians are forced to fight contact battles in order to do anything to Russians. For example, this Caesar self-propelled artillery fires up to 50 kilometers. They can hit logistics, they can hit supplies, they can even hit targets in Russia that are 50 kilometers away. And it's not only France who is sending them, it's also Netherlands, USA, the Czech Republic and Slovakia. They're all sending their heavy artillery, making Ukraine one of the most modern and better equipped artilleries in Europe, next to Finland. Let's talk about statistics for a moment. 3.53 times more Russian equipment than Russia has destroyed of Ukrainian equipment. These numbers are not hypothetical. They are very directly counted because these numbers only count the equipment destroyed that have proof with videos or photos. Russians have actually improved on the battlefield because a few weeks ago this number was higher, about 3.64. News from Estonia, my country. We have Belgian F-16s, made in America, but they're Belgian now, flying low over Estonia up until 1st of May. This is for the training of pilots and also as a deterrent force. You have F-16 flying next to Russian border in Estonia. Sends a very clear message to the Russians. We are ready. Another news from Estonia is that applications for Estonian citizenship from Russians has tripled in volume since the war started. Some of them are from Russia that want to come and live in Estonia to get away from Russia, and some of them are from Russians living in Estonia who just haven't gotten the Estonian citizenship yet, and now seeing the horrific things happening in Ukraine want to switch cultures. I see this as a good thing. Let's talk about Vladimir Putin. He recently had a meeting with Minister of Defense of Russia, Sergei Shoigu. They both met and sat down and Putin was grabbing the table for full 11 minutes. I watched that video second by second, seeing if he lifted his hand from the table. He didn't. He was grabbing it. It almost looks like cramping on it. I am no doctor. I cannot tell what this means, but he is an old man. He is also sitting weird slouched, not really changing his position throughout the entire 11 minutes. If you're a doctor, if you're a physician, it is up to you to decide what are these signs telling us. Is Putin sick? We all know that Hitler was sick. The last 3 years of his life, he had strong cramps of his left arm. He couldn't even move it properly. It was trembling. He had to hold on to things. Are we seeing the same signs with Putin? All right, let's jump onto the battlefield for a moment. Not much has changed. The big battle for Donbass. Russians have gained ground. They pushed south from Izium and they have gained about 10 kilometers with a week. I see it as a very slow advance. In every video I mentioned something about sanctions, Visa and MasterCard. They both pulled out from Russia, leaving Russians with very few options to have their credit cards based on. One of them was Union Pay. It's a Chinese payment system that is one of the biggest alternatives to Visa and MasterCard. It was supposed to save Russia from the sanctions of Visa and MasterCard, but Chinese Union Pay pulled out from Russia. It's a big thing because before China hadn't taken a drastic step against Russia. They were kind of in a limbo, but now they pulled out from Russia. This sends a message. Russia cannot lean on China. They're on their own. The Kremlin has announced that they have declared a one-sided ceasefire in Mariupol to supposedly allow civilians from Azovstal to leave. Up until now, nobody has been allowed to leave, but this comes after Volodymyr Zelensky said that if Ukrainian fighters in Azovstal, Mariupol, are killed, Ukraine would end talks with Russia, meaning that they would take back everything with force. Finally, we get visits from the USA. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken and the Secretary of Defense visited Kiev. US is sending a very strong message to Russia and to the world that they back Ukraine. They're also sending their diplomats back to Ukraine to continue work and open an embassy again. In Central Asia, there's a country called Kyrgyzstan, strongly in the Russian sphere of influence financially and politically. It is next to Kazakhstan, which already has an ideological conflict with Russia. Russian forces entered the country a few months ago, putting down a revolt with force. Kazakhstan has openly stated that they are against the war in Ukraine, which is a big thing, but now Kyrgyzstan Their Committee of National Security warned their citizens not to wear Russian war symbol of Z. Usually these Central Asian countries, they praise everything Russia does, but we have Kazakhstan stepping up to Russia, and now we have Kyrgyzstan advising their people not to take up Russian propaganda symbols. Might look like a small thing, but it's a very big thing if countries closest to Russia are starting to openly disagree with Russia. We have another incident of the same thing. Japan, not a country closest to Russia, but they have some contested islands, the Kuril Islands, which Russia occupies. Japan declared Kuril Islands officially illegally occupied by Russia. This language has never been used. It sends a message to the world that these countries surrounding Russia sense weakness and they will take advantage of it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for picking up side in this information war. Be careful of the information you get on the internet. Take everything, including my videos, with a grain of salt. Think with your head. And as always, until my next video, Slava Ukraini.